You be good, sweetheart. Just wait here for a little while, okay? Ethan crouched beside his daughter, adjusting the strap of her faded backpack with fingers that trembled more from hope than haste. He gently brushed a loose strand of hair away from her small face. If you believe redemption, second chance, and finding love also most important human kindness, so stay tuned with us and subscribe, because this story gives that made your day with joy, happiness, and believing to help others at any cost. So let's back to the story again. 7-year-old Lily nodded solemnly, her tiny hands wrapped tightly around a frayed stuffed bunny, as if it were a battle flag. I'll draw while I wait, she whispered, her voice soft and steady, a child's promise forged from innocence and resilience. Ethan smiled the kind of smile only single parents know, half forged from courage, half shaded with fear. It was 8:08 a.m., a time branded in his bones. He drew in a deep breath, straightened the second-hand button-up shirt he'd spent the morning ironing flat with love and nerves, and stepped through the towering glass doors of Sterling Global with a manila folder in one hand and every ounce of his hope balanced precariously on his shoulders. On the 12th floor, the conference room buzzed with antiseptic stillness, the kind that pricked at vulnerability. Across the long glass table sat Sandra Fields, head of human resources. Her tailored black blazer, rectangular glasses, and coiled bun gave her the air of a courtroom judge, prepared to weigh souls on scales of profit. She glanced up from her screen, gaze as sharp as her posture. Ethan Cole. Yes, ma'am. His voice was calm, practiced. 2 years at the granary. 3 years running your own catering service. Then nothing. Why? Ethan didn't flinch. My wife passed away, he said, the weight in his voice barely restrained. I stepped back to raise my daughter. A single father, Sandra noted clinically. Support system, daycare, grandparents, sitters. A kind neighbor helps when she can, Ethan said gently. I've been piecing things together. I won't let it interfere with work. Sandra didn't blink. Here at Sterling, we value stability, predictability. I understand, Ethan replied, keeping his composure intact. That's why I prepared this. He slid the folder across the table like a lifeline. Meal optimization strategies, cost-saving solutions, a redesigned menu for staff wellness. She opened it with the efficiency of someone reading a parking ticket, skimmed a single page, and shut it. Thank you, Mr. Cole. We'll be in touch if needed. That was it. No questions about the plan. No questions about him. Just a polished rejection draped in professional politeness. Ethan left with the folder still in hand, his chest tight, not from defeat, but from the ache of trying, over and over again, in a world that rarely tried back. But when he reached the lobby, his pulse spiked. Lily wasn't where he left her. He hurried, scanning corners and faces, his heart caught in his throat. Then, just a few steps away, he saw her, standing toe-to-toe with a woman in a black coat and heels that echoed with authority. Olivia Hart, CEO of Sterling Global. To most, her name carried power. In person, she carried something heavier, command cloaked in calm, clarity sharp enough to draw blood. Ethan froze. Lily, however, did not. She looked up with quiet curiosity. Are you really the boss of this whole building? She asked. Olivia blinked, caught off guard, then, ever so slightly, intrigued. I am. Do you know what a CEO does? You're like the queen of a castle, Lily said, but with fancier shoes. A twitch curved Olivia's lips, not quite a smile, but the beginning of something. Who are you here with? She asked. My dad. But the people upstairs didn't like that I exist, I think. Olivia's eyebrows arched. What do you mean? They said my dad's a risk. Cause I could get sick and make him miss work. But I don't get sick unless I eat too much ice cream, Lily added with innocent certainty. Something flickered behind Olivia's carefully composed expression. What does your dad do? He's a chef. He draws food menus with colors so people in boring offices don't feel sad. Olivia stood still for a moment, then turned to her assistant. Bring me Ethan Cole's file. Now. The assistant hesitated. Ma'am, HR just disqualified. I'm aware, she said, cutting through doubt like glass. I'd like to see it myself. Then she knelt slightly, eye level with Lily. Where's your dad now? Lily pointed. Over there. Olivia looked up and locked eyes with Ethan. A pause. Then her voice, calm and clear as glass. Mr. Cole, I believe we need to have another conversation. 22nd floor. Now. The elevator ride felt longer than any he'd taken. Ethan stood silently, folder clutched like armor. Lily remained downstairs, now happily coloring with a receptionist who'd handed her juice and crayons with maternal kindness. When the doors opened, Olivia was waiting, arms crossed, expression unreadable. Mr. Cole, she said coolly, let's make this efficient. Follow me. Her office was immaculate, carved from glass and steel, offering sweeping views of the city below. Ethan waited until she gestured to the chair. You were applying for culinary operations manager? Yes, ma'am. I read your proposal, she said, flipping pages. Creative, practical, focused on employee morale. Not bad for someone who's been out of the field for 3 years. I never stopped cooking, Ethan said. Just not for corporate floors. For one person. My daughter. A flicker. Barely visible. But it was there. Tell me, Mr. Cole, she said, closing the folder. What were you thinking, bringing your daughter to a corporate interview? He leaned forward. Steady. Her sitter canceled last minute. I could have called to reschedule. But I didn't. Opportunities don't always wait. I couldn't teach my daughter that life stops every time something goes wrong. And what if you'd failed? Olivia challenged. What would she have learned? He held her gaze. That her father shows up, even when it's hard. Silence filled the room like fog, but it wasn't cold anymore. You know why I called you up here? She asked. I assume because my daughter cornered the CEO in the lobby? She didn't corner me, Olivia said, almost smiling. She asked better questions than most of my board. Ethan laughed softly, surprised. She told me I looked like someone who protects people, Olivia added. Caught me off guard. She sees through things, Ethan said. Always has. Olivia nodded at the folder. You color menus for mood? Yes. Color affects appetite, energy, mood. We forget food isn't just fuel, it's emotion. I don't forget, Olivia said quietly. During the pandemic, when my company was on its knees. Do you know what my people thank me for? Not stock options. Soup. At midnight. On graveyard shifts. She studied him, then stood. I'm not offering you the job. Not yet. Ethan's chest tightened. I'm offering you a 2-week trial. Paid. In our executive kitchen. Create menus. Lead prep. Show me what your colors can do. Yes, Ethan said immediately. Absolutely. But there are conditions. You'll get a temporary badge. Your daughter may stay on the premises, supervised. Specific hours. If productivity drops, we stop. Understood. Crystal clear, he said. Thank you for the chance. This isn't charity, she said sharply. I didn't think it was. She paused. You impressed me. But your daughter reminded me of something I had forgotten. Leaders don't just build companies. They build people. Ethan stood. I'll bring everything I've got. I expect nothing less. By Monday morning, Ethan stood in Sterling Global's gleaming executive kitchen, every surface polished to perfection, every station assigned and sacred. The chef eyed him, suspicious. The new guy, the trial guy, the single dad. He didn't flinch. All right, he said, laying down a vibrant color-coded prep sheet. Tuesday's lunch, we're going Mediterranean. High protein, low sodium, hummus bowls, grilled chicken, yogurt sauce, colorful plating, fast turnover. Let's make something people actually want to eat. Silence, then a voice. Didn't realize we were feeding toddlers, muttered Marco, one of the younger sous chefs. Snickers. Ethan smiled. Tell you what, if your bowl makes a junior analyst forget her 14-hour shift, I'll let you rename the dish. That shut them up. By noon, the kitchen pulsed with energy. Knives chopped, sauces simmered. They weren't just tolerating him. They were following his rhythm. When Olivia Hart walked in unannounced, she was met with plates of grilled chicken skewers, citrus glaze, roasted bell peppers, garnished with edible flowers. She took one bite. "Better than the summit in Dubai," she said. Marco's jaw dropped. Ethan didn't gloat, but the smile on his lips said enough. Downstairs, Lily sat with crayons scattered like confetti, cross-legged on a lobby bench. "You know," she said to the receptionist, "this place has too many grays. Not enough happy colors." Mara laughed. "Tell that to the designer." "I did," Lily said, holding up a drawing, a sketch of the lobby with pink walls, trees, and a rainbow between the elevators. "I fixed it." And somewhere high above them, behind a wall of glass, Olivia Hart stood watching father and daughter, but not with judgment, with something gentler, something almost new, curiosity, respect, and maybe, just maybe, the beginning of change. It happened in a moment, a fleeting intersection of art and authority. Olivia Hart, CEO of Sterling Global, paused as she passed the lobby. Her heels, sharp and certain, halted beside a little girl seated on a plush bench, crayons strewn like confetti. The child was surrounded by color in a place designed for sterile steel and silence. "Did you draw this?" Olivia asked, peering down at the paper held in Lily's small hands. Lily nodded, matter of fact. "I call it not boring version." Nearby, the receptionist Mara stifled a chuckle. Olivia knelt, carefully lifting the sketch like something fragile and sacred. Her eyes swept over the rainbow arcs, the sunshine where fluorescent lights should have been, the green trees planted between elevators. "You've got an eye for space," Olivia murmured. Lily shrugged with childlike wisdom. "Daddy says we see what adults forget." Olivia blinked. Something stirred in her, and with surprising gentleness, she folded the drawing and said, "Come with me." She led Lily through the maze of marketing, past whiteboards full of sterile slogans and empty projections, until they entered a glass-walled conference room mid-meeting. A dozen marketers froze as Olivia stepped in. "Everyone," she announced, her voice unwavering. "This is Lily Cole. She's 7, and she just fixed our lobby." Lily gave a small wave. A few jaws dropped. Olivia held up the child's sketch. This asterisk is clarity. It's bold, honest, emotionally resonant. Take this and breathe it into the new wellness campaign. Make it feel like something worth waking up for." The room erupted in low murmurs. Lily leaned over to Olivia, whispering, "Was that too bossy?" Olivia smirked. "No, sweetheart. That was leadership." Later that afternoon, in the stainless steel heart of the executive kitchen, Ethan scrubbed down the prep station with quiet focus. The aroma of rosemary and lemon lingered in the air. Olivia stepped inside, not with clipboard and distance, but with presence. "You've made an impression," she said. Ethan straightened. "I didn't mean to stir up the building." "Well," Olivia replied, folding her arms, "you did. People are talking. About the food. About your daughter." Ethan's jaw tightened. "If I crossed a line." "You didn't," she cut in gently. "Actually, she made a suggestion today that's going to define our corporate wellness branding." Ethan blinked. "She called your lobby boring." He chuckled. "She's brutally honest." "I like that," Olivia said, then paused. Her tone shifted, softened. "She sees this place better than most adults. She listens, with her eyes." Ethan nodded. "She gets that from her mom." A silence fell. "What happened to her?" Olivia asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Ethan looked down, his voice low. "Cancer. It was fast. Lily was 4. Another pause. "I didn't have time to fall apart," he continued. "I cooked. I fed her. Kept routines. Gave her color where I could." Olivia's jaw clenched slightly, but her eyes shimmered with a new vulnerability. "You're not the man I expected to walk into that interview." "I'm not sure I am either," Ethan replied with a faint smile. Olivia studied him for a moment, then said quietly, You've got one more week in your trial, but I already know how it ends. His brow rose. Another rejection? No, she said, a spark in her tone. It ends with change. For this company. And maybe for you. As she turned to leave, Ethan called after her. Thank you. For trusting me and Lily. Olivia paused at the door. It wasn't trust at first, she admitted. It was curiosity. She glanced back, eyes softer than ever before. But now it's something more. That night, Olivia returned to her corner office. The city glowed beneath her, but her gaze was on something else entirely. The folded sketch she unfolded once again and pinned gently to the wall behind her desk. For the first time in years, she smiled. Not for quarterly gains or headlines, but because one child had seen what no adult ever had. A child in pink sneakers, clutching a bunny with a torn ear, had reminded her that greatness sometimes arrives in crayon. The next morning, the executive cafeteria buzzed with life. Cinnamon oats, rosemary frittatas, coffee infused with orange zest. It was no longer just a kitchen. It was a sensory sanctuary. Ethan moved through it with quiet grace, plating food with purpose. Each dish was a whisper of resilience, a note of care. But elsewhere in the building, the mood soured. Inside the glass-paneled boardroom, 8 executives sat like statues around a polished mahogany table. Spreadsheets glared up at them, and so did fear. At the head sat William Tate, CFO, longtime board member, silver hair gleaming under cold lights. He set down his mug with intent. There's growing concern, he began, about deviations from protocol. Across from him, VP Marianne Blake chimed in. Olivia's personal involvement in the culinary department, authorizing a hire without board review, it's concerning. Someone finally said what they were all thinking. A single father with a child on site. Is that the new Sterling standard? An hour later, Olivia stood at her office window. She'd seen the storm coming. When you live by numbers, by precision, the moment you follow your heart instead of policy, you paint a target on your back. Her assistant entered quietly. The board wants a statement. About Ethan. And Lily. Olivia didn't turn. They want me to apologize for a man doing his job and being a father? They want you to explain. I don't explain common sense, she said coldly. But her hands clenched. Because this wasn't just about Ethan. It was about her. Downstairs, Ethan wiped down a prep station when Marco, the sous chef who once mocked him, leaned in. Hey, just a heads up. Higher-ups aren't thrilled with your setup. Ethan stopped. The food. Now, Marco said. Food's a hit. It's everything else. Ethan nodded slowly. You mean my daughter? Marco hesitated. Look, I got kids. I get it. But this place, it's built for machines. People who treat sleep like weakness. Ethan smiled tiredly. Then maybe it's time they saw what real strength looks like. That afternoon, Ethan was summoned. CEO's office. 4 p.m. ***. He arrived early. Olivia was already seated. She looked different. The armor still intact, but the eyes, once unreadable, now turbulent. Sit, she said, uncharacteristically unpolished. He obeyed. There's pushback, she said. Because of me. Because of us. She met his eyes. This isn't just about a man bringing a child to work. It's what it represents, change. Humanity. And corporate boards hate humanity. Ethan's breath caught. What does that mean? It means, she said slowly, you're still in the trial, but any disruption could be used to remove you. And Lily. Her voice sharpened. They want her gone. Off the premises. Immediately. Ethan leaned forward, heart pounding. She stays in the lobby. She colors. She's not hurting anyone. She's helped more than she's distracted. I know that, Olivia said, her voice cracking. The mural outside HR? Her idea. She got the mailroom staff to label packages in color codes. Then fight, Ethan said. You're the CEO. Olivia stared at him. Then, softly, more real than she'd ever been, she asked, do you know how I became the youngest female CEO in Sterling's history? Ethan didn't speak. I made hard calls. Gave up weekends, birthdays, love, everything human, for this chair. She looked away. And now, she whispered, a little girl is making me question whether I built something worth ruling. The next morning, the entire building felt different. Near reception, a once-unused office now bore a new sign, Family Flex Room. Inside were beanbags, books, toys, and a crayon-drawn sign taped lovingly to the wall. All are welcome here, especially tired dads. That afternoon, Olivia called a meeting, not with the board, but with the leaders of every department. She stood alone. No podium, no notes. You've heard the rumors, she began. About a little girl, a chef, about me. Nervous laughter rippled. Well, let me be clear. I authorized Ethan Cole's trial, not out of sympathy, but because he's one of the most innovative culinary minds I've seen, and his daughter reminded me that leadership grounded in empathy is not a weakness, but a strength. She walked forward. Sterling Global is not a machine. We're made of people. From this day forward, we create space for them to show up whole. Someone raised a hand. What about the board? Olivia turned, unflinching. Let them fire me. But they won't, because I've seen the data. Morale, retention, engagement, all up since a father and his little girl walked through our doors. A pause. If that's disruption, then I'll take more of it. That evening, Ethan walked into the Family Flex room with Lily. She gasped, eyes wide. Is this for me? He knelt, his voice full. It's for people like us. She ran to the beanbags, then turned, holding up a drawing. A building with a heart instead of a logo. I think you and the boss lady are fixing things. Ethan looked toward the top floor, where Olivia stood at the window, but not like a ruler surveying her domain, like a woman, seeing something worth staying for. The sun dipped behind the skyline, its light lingering on Sterling Global's towering glass panels. Inside, Lily lay curled in sleep, her sketchpad resting against her heart like a shield. Down the hall, Ethan stirred a lukewarm cup of coffee. The kind of tired he felt wasn't from work, but from waiting for the other shoe to drop. The door opened. Olivia stepped in. You drink this stuff? He asked, lifting the bitter brew. I don't drink anything I can't pronounce, she quipped. Then you should try Lily's imaginary tea parties. Flavors like glitterberry and rainbow root. She smiled, real this time. She's been drawing your menus. Added smiley faces to every Tuesday dish. That explains morale, Ethan said, laughing softly. A silence stretched. Then Olivia said it, unvarnished. The board gave me an ultimatum. Ethan stilled. They want to end your trial. Say it sends the wrong message. That empathy weakens us. He looked at her, eyes full. And what did you say? I said no. She met his gaze. I told them we don't hire perfection. We hire potential. And potential shows up in unlikely places. Like a grieving father who makes roasted carrots taste like comfort. Ethan looked away. His heart, for the first time in years, felt full. They're not backing down, Olivia whispered that night. The weight of those words heavier than any report she'd ever signed. They've called an emergency vote for Friday. If I don't reverse my decision, I could be out. Later that evening, in the hush of his modest apartment, Ethan paced the worn floorboards like a caged animal. The scent of half-finished curry still hung in the air, the stove's flame low and forgotten. Dishes stacked untouched in the sink bore silent witness to his unease. In the next room, Lily lay fast asleep, her breath soft and rhythmic beneath her blanket. On the fridge, a yellow sticky note in a child's handwriting clung desperately to the metal. Daddy, don't forget to smile today. You're my sunshine. Ethan leaned his forehead against the cool wall, eyes closed, and let out a single, broken breath. Damn. By the next day, the air in Sterling Global was thick with unspoken words. Whispers darted faster than memos. Some employees murmured that Olivia had finally let her heart cloud her judgment. Others claimed it was strategy. That maybe, just maybe, she saw something in Ethan no one else had noticed. In the elevator, strangers nodded at him. For the first time, not just as a chef, but as a man, a father, someone who belonged. Then came the crushing blow. He was summoned again, but not to Olivia's office, to legal compliance on the 14th floor. The room was cold, sterile, too clean, too hollow. The man across the table spoke like polished marble. "Mr. Cole, we've received a formal complaint." Ethan blinked. "From who?" "We can't disclose the source," the man replied, flipping a form. "The nature of the complaint is personal entanglement, allegations of favoritism, a conflict of interest." "You think I'm involved with Olivia?" "We're not here to speculate, but until this is reviewed, we strongly recommend you cease any direct contact with Miss Hart." Ethan walked out with hands trembling, rage and disbelief swirling beneath his skin. He didn't stop at the kitchen. He marched straight to Olivia's office. Protocol be damned. She looked up the moment he burst in. Their eyes locked. "They filed a complaint," he said, voice flat. She nodded once. "I know. They think I'm being used," he added, the bitterness seeping through. "I've already launched an investigation. Legal's handling it," she replied. "I'm under scrutiny now. Every step I take is being watched." Ethan began to pace. "So now I'm the liability?" "No," she said firmly. I am. He turned, frustrated. "They're using me to get to you." Her voice rose, solid with fire. "You think I don't know that? You think I haven't lived every moment of my career, waiting for the day they'd try to tear me down over a single emotional decision?" He stopped, looked at her. "Then why risk it?" he asked. She stepped out from behind the desk, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Because for years I built a tower, so high I forgot why I was climbing. Then one day, your daughter walked into my lobby in pink shoes and changed the temperature of this entire building." She swallowed. "And you reminded me that leadership isn't about control. It's about purpose." Ethan's voice cracked. "I never wanted to be anyone's weakness." "You're not," she said, eyes glistening. "You're my mirror. You show me what actually matters." That evening, while rain etched streaks on the glass lobby doors, Lily spun in dizzy circles, arms out like a ballerina, without music. "You okay, Daddy?" she asked, her small voice breaking through Ethan's silence. He knelt, brushing a damp curl from her face. "Remember when you told me I was your sunshine?" She nodded, solemn. "Well, you're my compass. Like a map." He smiled. "Exactly. You help me find where I'm supposed to be." She threw her arms around him, and for one suspended moment, the storm faded. Friday, 10:00 a.m. The boardroom was full. Suits sat like statues. Eyes gleamed like knives. At the head of the table stood Olivia, spine straight, document in one hand, dignity in the other. "I know this vote is framed around standards," she began, voice calm but cutting. "But let's call it what it is, control." A few gasps. Some stiffened in their seats. Ethan Cole didn't violate protocol. He exposed it. He showed us that compassion doesn't weaken excellence. It defines it. He isn't a risk. He's a revolution. She met every gaze, unwavering. And if this company has no room for revolution, then it has no room for me either. Downstairs, Ethan sat with Lily curled beside him in the family flex room, her sketchpad resting gently on her stomach as she slept. He clasped his hands, leaned forward, and whispered the quietest prayer he'd said in years. "Let be enough." Rain tapped gently on the windows above. The boardroom doors finally opened. Silence swept the corridor like a wave. Olivia walked out, composed, controlled, like a woman who could walk away from a collapsing building and never break stride. But inside her an earthquake. She made it back to her office, closed the door, let out the breath she'd been holding for hours. The vote had passed. Ethan would stay, but at a price. She would step back, recuse herself from his mentorship, sever ties with anything involving Lily. A surgical cut to save the company, but at the cost of something deeply human. She turned toward the wall, where Lily's sketch still hung, bright colors now dulled by consequence. Downstairs, Ethan received the memo. He read it once. Then again. The part that landed like a punch wasn't about the vote. It was one line. Effective immediately, Olivia Hart will no longer be involved in your supervision or mentorship. He folded the paper with care, as if handling grief. Did she say anything else? He asked the assistant. The assistant shook her head. Only that she's sorry. Ethan nodded once, though everything inside him was splintering. The days blurred. Ethan threw himself into work, refining menus, training staff, avoiding the glances of those who once ignored him. The kitchen ran like a dream. Reviews gleamed. But something vital was missing. Lily noticed first. "Why doesn't Miss Olivia visit anymore?" she asked one night. He paused mid-chop, the scent of rosemary rising in the silence. "She's busy." Lily frowned. "She doesn't like my drawings now." "No, sweetheart," he said gently. "I think she likes them too much." Thursday evening. As Ethan locked up the kitchen, a familiar voice echoed behind him. "I heard your salmon stole the CFO's heart." He turned. Olivia. She stood in the doorway, hands in her coat pockets. Her eyes held weight, not from lack of sleep, but from carrying burdens too long alone. "I thought you weren't allowed to talk to me," Ethan said. "I'm not," she replied, "but I'm not great at following rules I didn't write." He exhaled, voice low. "You could have fought harder." "I did." "You could have walked away." "I almost did." A beat passed. "I'm still not sure which one would have hurt more." They stood in silence, not as CEO and chef, but as two souls caught in a war between right and possible. Then Olivia stepped closer. "I need to show you something," she said softly. "Tomorrow, after hours. Can you come?" Ethan nodded. Friday, 7:15 p.m. The storm outside had settled to a whisper. Olivia led Ethan down a hallway he'd never noticed, past frosted glass, into a secured room tucked behind the executive wing. Inside was not corporate. It was quiet, minimal, personal. At the center sat a wooden box. Olivia opened it slowly. "These are part of the Hart Foundation's sealed records. Archives, most never seen by staff." She handed him a letter. A birth certificate. Name of child, Lillian Grace. Mother, Olivia Demo now Hart. Father unknown. Date, July 11th, 20XX. Ethan's hands trembled. "What is this?" Her voice cracked. "I was 22. My father, Sterling's founder, forced me to choose. The company, or her. I was told she'd be adopted. Placed safely. No updates. No records." Ethan staggered. No. My wife. She had Lily when we met. She said the father was gone. That she adopted her from a distant cousin." He shook his head, eyes brimming. "Are you saying Lily is your daughter?" Tears filled Olivia's eyes. "I'm saying I think we were both lied to." Ethan gripped the edge of the table, breath ragged. "Does she know?" "No," Olivia said. "I would never tell her without you." He stepped closer, emotion choking him. "You're not just the woman who gave me a job. You're the reason she's in my life." Silence settled, thick with years of longing. "I just wanted her to be safe," Olivia whispered. "I never thought I'd find her, coloring in my lobby." Ethan nodded. "She is safe, and she's happy, because of both of us." That night, Ethan walked home in the rain, but for once, he didn't feel lost. He felt chosen, and even though the road ahead was fragile and unknown, it felt like the beginning. Saturday morning. Sunlight nudged through the blinds. Ethan hadn't slept. He sat on the edge of the couch, still in yesterday's clothes, birth certificate clutched like a sacred secret. In the bedroom, Lily stirred. "Daddy." He tucked the paper into a book. "Hey, sunshine." She patted out in a tangle of curls and blanket cape. "Are we going back to the office today?" "Not today. It's Saturday. Can we go to the park then? The one with the ducks and the spinny thing that makes me dizzy." He smiled. "Sure, kiddo. Anything you want." She lit up. "Do you think Miss Olivia would come too?" His chest tightened. "I don't know. Would you want her to?" Lily nodded. "She listens. Most grown-ups don't, but she does." He turned away, blinking back tears. She told me once, Lily added, that when I talk it sounds like colors. That afternoon, Ethan called Olivia. I can't stop thinking about it, he confessed. Neither can I, she replied. She deserves the truth. She deserves safety, Olivia said. We have to be sure. What if she resents you? I already resent me, Olivia whispered. Every day I didn't search. Every excuse. Every lie I believed. She doesn't need your guilt, Ethan said gently. She needs your love. A pause. Will she still see me? Olivia asked softly. As someone worth loving? Sunday. At the park, Ethan and Lily fed ducks, played tag, laughed until their cheeks ached. She spun on the dizzy thing, screaming with joy. Then, beneath the tree, she asked again, Is Miss Olivia mad at me? No, sweetheart. She stopped coming to see me. She didn't want to make things harder. Lily stared at the leaf in her hand, turned it over thoughtfully. Sometimes grown-ups go away when things feel too big. Ethan looked at her. What do you mean? She looked up. That's what happened with Mommy. The night she went to the hospital, she said she'd come home, but she didn't. A lump formed in Ethan's throat. He wrapped his arms around her and held on, for dear life. She didn't leave you, Lily, Ethan whispered, holding his daughter close against the soft rise and fall of his chest. Your mommy she fought, with everything she had. Lily leaned into him, her voice small but certain. Miss Olivia isn't sick, right? No. Then maybe she's still fighting too. That night, miles above the sleeping city, Olivia Hart sat alone in her penthouse, an immaculate expanse of glass and silence. In her lap, she cradled a photograph she had never dared to frame. The corners were frayed, the image faded. A baby girl, wrapped in a hospital blanket, her eyes closed, her fingers curled like question marks. I wonder, Olivia whispered, tracing the image with trembling fingers, if you would have forgiven me for letting them take you. She hadn't spoken to her father in years. After his death, all that remained between them was Sterling Global, a kingdom he'd built on dominance and control, and one she'd inherited like a crown made of ice. It had become her redemption, her penance. But now it all felt hollow. On Monday morning, Ethan returned to work. The kitchen greeted him like a conquering hero. The staff buzzed with warmth. Even Marco, once so full of doubt, offered a quiet nod of support. Productivity soared. Morale shimmered. But Ethan noticed none of it. His eyes were fixed on the elevator, waiting, hoping. And at 9:43 a.m., it opened, and Olivia stepped out. No hesitation. No hesitation at all. The room fell silent as she walked past the others and straight to Ethan. We need to talk. He followed her to the family flex room, the one born from Lily's crayons and clarity. They stood beneath the rainbow mural Lily had drawn, as vibrant as the day it went up, now feeling almost prophetic. I thought about your question, Olivia said quietly, about whether she'll love me. Ethan nodded. I realized that's not the question that matters. She took a breath. What matters is whether I'll love her enough to earn it, with no expectations, no need for anything in return. Ethan studied her for a long time. You already started, he murmured. She says your voice sounds like colors. Olivia blinked, then smiled. Not the practiced smile she'd worn for boardrooms or glossy magazine spreads. A real one. Soft, warm, uncertain. A smile stitched together with hope. That evening, Lily opened their apartment door and found Olivia standing there, not as the CEO of a billion-dollar empire, but as a woman stripped down to her truest self. No makeup, no sleek heels, just jeans, sneakers, and a cardigan that looked far too soft for someone who once commanded rooms with a glance. Lily tilted her head. Are you here for dinner? Ethan appeared behind her. Only if it's okay with the boss. Lily beamed. We're having mac and cheese, with hot dogs cut like octopuses. Olivia let out a laugh, light, unburdened. That sounds extremely gourmet. Lily took her hand. Come on. And for the first time in 7 years, Olivia Hart sat at a dinner table with her daughter, not flanked by assistants or guarded by silence, but surrounded by crayons, laughter, messy napkins, and something she never thought she'd feel again: grace. Within a week, the shift became visible. In Lily's drawings, Olivia began to appear. Sometimes she was holding a mug beside a rainbow-colored office tower. Other times she wore a superhero cape, flying just behind scribbled Lily, with pigtails. "She thinks you're magic," Ethan said one afternoon, watching Lily sketch on the floor. "I'm just trying to earn her trust," Olivia replied, her voice quiet. "You already have," he said. "She doesn't draw people she doesn't feel safe with." That word, safe, lodged in Olivia's throat like a stone. She had never associated it with herself. Not as a daughter, not as a CEO, and certainly not as a mother who'd buried that title deep beneath ambition and fear. Later that day, Olivia invited Lily to her penthouse. The space was immaculate, almost clinical: white walls, steel gray furniture, silence so thick it echoed. "Why is it so quiet in here?" Lily asked, spinning in slow circles. "I guess," Olivia replied, her voice distant. "I never had a reason to fill it." "Well," Lily said, hopping onto the couch and pulling out her crayon pouch, "you do now." She grabbed a crumpled financial report from the trash bin and began coloring directly on the back. "You're okay using that?" Olivia asked, startled. "It's paper." "But paper's for telling stories," Lily said without looking up. "Grown-ups forget that." Olivia sat beside her. "What kind of story are you drawing?" "A story about a woman who built a castle out of glass," Lily said, grinning. "But then she made windows, so people inside could breathe." Olivia had no words, only awe. That night, they had takeout on the rooftop under fairy lights Olivia had never used. Lily danced between bites of dumplings, giggling as the skyline bathed them in twilight gold. "There's something I need to show you," Olivia whispered to Ethan. She led him downstairs to a locked drawer in her private study. From within it, she pulled a leather-bound binder, aged heavy and sealed with memories long buried. "I hired a private investigator 3 years ago," she said, her fingers trembling. "Something in me, I don't know. I just couldn't read the report." Inside were folders, photos, and timelines, all surrounding Lily's adoption. Ethan opened the top file. Beneath the redacted documents and grainy photos was a legal record dated 8 months after Lily's birth. A temporary guardianship. The guardian, Julia Quinn, Ethan's late wife. His breath caught. "She always said she adopted Lily from a distant cousin," he murmured. "I never questioned it." "It wasn't legal," Olivia said softly. "That document was temporary, pending full approval. That approval never came." He turned the page. A sticky note clung to the corner. "No contact. Under instruction from R.D. ***. Olivia's face paled. "R.D. was my father's lawyer." She stared at the paper. He paid off clinics, threatened agencies, forged timelines. He didn't just control the narrative. He stole her. From both of us. Ethan clenched his fists. "Why?" "Because to him," Olivia whispered, "motherhood made me weak. A liability." She blinked hard. "I should have fought harder." "You were 22, Ethan said gently. "Alone, threatened by the man who held your future." Tears shimmered in her eyes. "And yet somehow," he added, voice thick, "she ended up with someone who loved her." He reached for her hand. "She's not broken, Olivia. She's whole. She's light. She's ours." The next morning, Lily shuffled into the kitchen in her pajamas, rubbing sleep from her eyes. "Can I see Miss Olivia today?" Ethan turned from the stove. "There's something we need to talk about first." "Is it serious?" He knelt beside her. "You remember how I said you were chosen?" Lily nodded. "Well, sometimes being chosen means something even bigger than we realize." Her brow furrowed. "Like what?" "Miss Olivia, she's very special to you. Not just because she's kind, but because a long time ago, She loved a baby girl so much she had to say goodbye, even though it hurt. Lily's lip trembled. That's really sad. It is, Ethan said, but that baby grew up strong, brave, full of color. And that baby. He paused. That baby was you. Lily's eyes widened. So is she my mom? Ethan nodded. She always was. She just didn't get the chance to show it until now. Silence. Can I still call her Miss Olivia? You can call her anything you want, Ethan whispered, tears glistening. That evening, as Olivia sat in her office watching the sun sink behind the skyline, the door creaked open. Lily stepped in, holding a folded paper. I made this for you. Olivia took it gently. A drawing of the two of them, hand in hand, standing in front of a tall glass castle with wide-open windows. At the top, written in bold rainbow letters, "Welcome home, Mommy." Olivia's hands trembled. Tears fell freely, not from shame or regret, but from a joy so delicate it could only come after years of aching. She wept, because she had been lost, and now she was found. Monday. The day began like any other, until 10:03 a.m. Olivia was mid-sentence in a quarterly meeting when her assistant, Lauren, burst into the room. "Miss Hart, you need to see this." She handed her a phone. The screen glowed with a headline. Sterling CEO allegedly hid child from past relationship. Confidential adoption files leaked. Beneath it, a photo. Olivia, Ethan, and Lily walking out of the Flex room, smiling, holding hands. The article listed sealed records, redacted names, private timelines, and framed Lily not as a child, but a scandal. The room erupted in whispers. Olivia stood, ice in her spine. "Clear my schedule. Now." Downstairs, Ethan's phone buzzed violently. His fingers curled around it as he read the article. 3 employees peered through the glass wall of the kitchen. "Is that his kid?" Before the words could land, Ethan left. Back in her office, Olivia was pacing. Lauren returned, trembling. "Legal has been alerted. PR wants a statement. The board demands a full timeline." "Find out who leaked it," Olivia snapped. "Do you think it was intentional?" Lauren asked. Olivia stopped cold. "It was—" She pulled out a manila envelope, old, untouched. Her father's law firm seal on the front. Inside, a clause in her succession contract. Any personal conduct resulting in reputational damage, including undisclosed dependents, may trigger reassessment of leadership. He'd written it himself, tied her motherhood to her silence. Even in death, he was still pulling strings. Later, she found Ethan in the rooftop garden. "I'm sorry," she said. "It's not just about you anymore," he replied. "Or me." They named her Olivia. "She's a kid, and now she's a headline." "I thought we had time," she whispered. "I thought we could protect her until she was ready." "So what now?" he asked. "I hold a press conference." "You'd admit everything?" "Not everything, but enough. The truth, told the right way, can disarm a lie. And if it costs you your job." She looked at him. "I already lost her once. I won't do it again." That night, Lily was coloring on the floor. Ethan sat beside her. "Hey, sweetheart, did anyone at school say anything today?" "About Mommy." Lily nodded. "A boy said you and Miss Olivia were in trouble." "What did you say?" "I said no, then I kicked him in the shin." Ethan coughed a laugh. "Not the best way to handle it." "He said we weren't a real family," she murmured. Ethan took her hand gently. "Families don't have to look one way. They just have to love one way." "Are we going to be okay?" she asked. He didn't hesitate. "We already are." The next morning, the press room at Sterling Global buzzed with tension. Cameras clicked. Reporters murmured. Every major outlet was present. Olivia stepped up to the podium. No blazer, no branding, just quiet strength. She looked into the sea of lenses, past them, toward the little girl watching from home, toward truth, toward love, and with her voice steady, her hands open, and her heart fully seen, she began. "My name is Olivia Hart, and this is the story you don't know." "I want to speak plainly," Olivia began, her voice calm but resonant as it cut through the heavy quiet of the press room. She drew a breath, not for courage, but for truth. Yes, the child in the photographs is mine. Her name is Lily. She is brave, curious, and without question the most extraordinary human being I've ever met. A burst of camera flashes illuminated her face. There were choices made long ago, she continued, her voice steady but softening at the edges. Some were made by others, some by me. At the time, I believed I was protecting a future. What I didn't understand was that I was surrendering one. She paused, eyes searching the crowd not for validation, but for connection. This is not a scandal. This is not a weakness. This is a child, and she is loved. A reporter stood. Do you believe this compromises your role as CEO? I believe, Olivia answered without flinching, that it enhances it, because leadership without empathy is nothing more than control, and control cannot build trust. Another voice from the crowd asked, Do you expect to keep your position? I expect to tell the truth, she replied, and whatever happens after that, I can live with. Back at the apartment, Ethan and Lily watched the live stream. The room was still, the air charged with something unspoken. When it ended, Lily whispered, She's not scared. No, Ethan replied, she's not. Lily's small smile spread like morning sunlight. Then maybe I don't have to be either. Barely a day had passed since the press conference, and already the world had splintered. Some headlines praised Olivia's strength and vulnerability. Others tore her down with calculated cruelty. Scandal CEO hides secret child. Is Sterling Global being led by a liability? Olivia Hart, hero or headline? But Olivia moved through the storm like a woman who had learned to carry sunlight in her pocket. What she hadn't expected was the email waiting for her on her desk the next morning. From Lighten Capital. Subject, Leadership Transition Discussion. We are grateful for your years of dedication, Olivia. However, for the stability of the market, we believe a transition is necessary. Please prepare to discuss terms by the end of the week. Translation, step down. Quietly, quickly, cleanly, ***. Meanwhile, Ethan was finishing morning prep when his phone buzzed with an unknown number. Is this Chef Ethan Cole? A poised voice asked. Yes. This is Caroline Briggs from Emberline, flagship culinary group in San Francisco. I saw your story online, then I saw your food. We need to talk. Ethan stepped out into the cool morning air, heart pounding. I wasn't aware I was looking for anything. You weren't, she replied smoothly. But we don't just hire chefs, we chase soul. And yours is rare. It's the kind people build legacies around. He hesitated. I appreciate that, but I'm not sure now's the right time. It's not just a position, she interrupted. It's a creative directorship, partnership track, relocation covered. You'd build something from the ground up, full autonomy. His breath caught. And the salary? She said the number. He almost dropped the phone. That night, Ethan sat at the kitchen table, the job offer glowing on his laptop screen. In the next room, Lily sang off-key in the bath, humming a tune Olivia had taught her about stars and bedtime dreams. He looked back at the email. We want you. It wasn't just a job. It was a new life. But what was a legacy if you had no one to share it with? The next evening, he met Olivia on the rooftop, their unofficial meeting place, where the skyline listened without judgment. City lights blinked like tiny stars behind her as she poured tea from Lily's glittery thermos. I got an offer, Ethan said without preamble. She looked up. From Emberline, San Francisco. Creative director. It's everything I thought I ever wanted. Her smile was small but genuine. That's incredible. But it's San Francisco, he said quietly. And this feels like home. You don't have to explain it to me, she said softly. You deserve this. You've earned it. Have I, he asked. Or have I just gotten really good at surviving? She tilted her head. What do you mean? I mean, maybe I stopped allowing myself to dream. I got used to life being about less, about surviving instead of becoming. But now, I'm not just thinking about me. I'm thinking about Lily. And about you. Olivia's eyes softened. I won't hold you back, Ethan. Not ever. That's not what I want, he said. He looked at her like she wasn't the CO anymore, but a woman who, like him, had finally allowed herself to reach for joy. I want to build something. Not just in a kitchen. A life. A family. With you. The air between them shifted, full of unspoken vows and second chances. Then Olivia reached into her coat and pulled out a small silver key, trembling slightly in her fingers. I had the second bedroom furnished for Lily, she whispered. She doesn't know yet, but it's ready. You don't have to say yes. But if we are where your heart lives, I want you here. With us. Ethan stared at the key. The wind stirred gently. He reached across, took it into his palm, and smiled. Only if there's room for a spice rack. She laughed, loud and unguarded, a laugh filled with the lightness of finally arriving. That night, Ethan tucked Lily into bed. Daddy. Yeah, love. Will Miss Olivia come over tomorrow? He kissed her forehead. She might. She makes me feel like we're a team. That's because, he said, we are. The next morning, Ethan sent an email. Subject, offer from Emberline. Caroline. Asterisk, I'm honored. Truly. But my next big project is already here. It's got crayon drawings on the fridge, tea with stars on the lid, and the strongest team I've ever known. I'm staying asterisk. Thank you. Ethan Cole. Meanwhile, Olivia walked into the Sterling boardroom for the final time. The eyes around the table were sharp, expectant. She placed a binder on the table. This, she said, is my succession plan. Not for me, for the company. She flipped it open. It includes Chef Ethan Cole as permanent culinary director, full benefits, flexible family leave, and a scholarship in Lily's name for single parents in the industry. A long silence. Then, softly, someone said, approved. Outside, Ethan was waiting. She stepped out. He grinned. Did we just change the company? She smiled. No, we just reminded it who it's supposed to be. 3 months later, the city had shifted. The seasons, too, summer slipping into autumn's golden hush. In a quiet neighborhood just outside downtown, something rare had bloomed. Not money, not power, but family. Ethan stood at the stove in what was now their kitchen, wearing a ridiculous apron hand-painted by Lily. Chef Dad, dangerously delicious. He hummed as he stirred a pot of creamy butternut squash soup. It smelled like warmth before it even touched the tongue. Olivia walked in barefoot, carrying 2 mugs of tea, one for the executive chef. Careful, he said, grinning. You'll spoil me. I'm counting on it, she replied, kissing his cheek. Lily's setting the table, she added. There's glitter involved. You've been warned. She gets it from you. I'm a minimalist, says the woman who color-coded her pantry by emotional tone. They laughed, not like people faking happiness, but like people who had learned it was safe to feel it. At the table, Lily placed a final fork beside a placed card that read, Mommy Heart Suit Sparkle Hearts. Okay, she said with dramatic authority. Everyone sit. They obeyed. Then Lily reached beneath her chair and pulled out a folded paper. I wrote a poem, she announced, for our family celebration dinner. No interruptions. Ethan saluted. I solemnly swear. Olivia crossed her fingers. Proceed, Madam Poet. Lily stood tall, unfolded the page, and read. Families aren't always made in hospitals. Asterisk, sometimes they're made in hallways. Or kitchens, asterisk. Or when someone shares their umbrella. My mommy didn't know me when I was tiny, but now she knows I like mangoes and glitter and questions. My daddy didn't know she was my mommy, but he loved me so big. He made room in his heart even before it remembered. Now we live in a house with too many pillows and one cat who hates us all. But we are a team. Not perfect, just real. And real is my favorite. Silence. The kind that fills a room when hearts are too full to speak. Then Ethan whispered, Real is my favorite too. Olivia reached for Lily's hand. I may not have been there at the beginning, she said, voice catching. But I'll be there for every chapter that comes next. Lily beamed. Even the ones with dragons? Especially those. Later that night, after dinner had been eaten, dishes cleaned, and the cat narrowly rescued from a glitter ambush, Ethan and Olivia stood on the balcony. Below them, the city blinked softly. Inside, Lily had fallen asleep between two oversized throw pillows, her head resting on a stuffed narwhal. Ethan wrapped his arms around Olivia. "I used to think love was this cinematic thing," he murmured. "Thunder, fireworks, lightning. And now," she asked, leaning into him, "now I know love is soup simmering while your kid sings off-key. It's choosing each other. On boring days. On hard days. Again and again." She nodded. "I used to think power meant control. Then I met a 6-year-old who reminded me power is being seen, heard, held." They stood in quiet, hearts humming in harmony. Then Olivia turned. "Can I ask you something?" "Anything." She pulled out a small velvet box. Ethan blinked. "Is that?" "Not that." She laughed. "I'm not that bold." She opened it to reveal a tiny silver ring, sized for a child. Lily asked if she could have something to match me. I thought we could give it to her together, as a promise. Inside, etched in delicate script, "We choose you." "She'll love it," Ethan said, eyes full. "No," Olivia whispered. "She'll feel it." They gave it to Lily the next morning, wrapped in her favorite purple scarf. She unwrapped it slowly, read the engraving, then looked up with wide eyes. "Does this mean you both picked me?" Olivia knelt, tears threatening. "No, sweet girl. It means we picked us." And that's how the story ends. Not with scandal, not with fireworks, but with a child learning that love isn't earned. It's given, it's chosen, and it stays. Sometimes, family isn't about where you begin. It's about who walks with you, who shows up, who chooses you again and again. One bedtime story, one crayon drawing, one spoonful of soup at a time. Asterisk, asterisk.